This is the HP Cable Design Marble Power Distributor. It is indeed made of solid marble, Italian marble with gold specks. It's gorgeous to look at. It's expensive. And what the heck is it? It's a power distributor. It takes the power out of one outlet of your wall and distributes it across multiple, in this case 8, individual outlets for your components to plug into in the front, in this case on top. It is indeed a new product category for high performance audio. You ask, what's the point of it? Many people have dedicated lines. In fact, I have 3 dedicated lines. I was skeptical. Why would I need this? To further my skepticism, the importer of the product said that I should plug the whole system into it. Well, what's the point of me having 3 dedicated lines if I have to use one outlet on one of my dedicated lines to plug my whole system into? So I came at it with a little bit of a closed mind, and I put it in the system. It was 4.5 months ago. At the time, the system consisted of MBL 101 Mark II E loudspeakers with the AVM MA8 mono 1200 watt per channel solid state amplifiers and associated other equipment. The MA8s were plugged into their own dedicated line each. They draw enormous amounts of current from the wall, and the MBLs are inefficient loudspeakers. They're just under 82 dB efficient, and I like to listen to, at times, rock concert levels. I was indeed reluctant to plug the whole thing into here, so I did it one step at a time. I plugged the preamp in first and listened. The soundstage widened, and it widened considerably. Well, that result was encouraging. So I took the power cables and plugged it in for the amplifiers along with the preamplifier into the marble, and I felt an even wider increase in staging. And I thought, well, this is going to fall apart. When I turn it up, it's going to draw too much current. And that was not the case. When I turned it up, it filled every nook and cranny of the listening room, to the point where I felt like the walls of the room were being pushed aside and out. How can this happen? It's a power distributor. There's no active component in here. Well, perhaps that's part of the magic, or part of why it works. There's nothing to limit the current. And in this one, the marble, it can handle gobs of current. Each individual outlet has its own dedicated, they call it a home run. It means the wires go directly from the inlet, each one wired hard to each outlet. In the case of this unit, which I was graced to have been able to see the inside of back in October, doing a company tour at the importer's facility in Colorado, I got to see the craftsmanship and the workmanship inside. And in fact, we have a video of it on the A Audio Imports Company tour. You could see that a lot of time and effort went into designing the product. Again, when I was shooting the video, I thought, well, this is really cool, but how can this make a difference? It does. And here's one of the reasons. When you have your system cabled into dedicated lines, and let's say, for example, you have, like I do, 3 dedicated lines. My lines are dedicated a very short distance to the box, to the listening environment, in hospital-grade plugs, attached directly to the Romax. I mean, it's as pure pure can be. But when I plug an amplifier into the one, when I plug the other amplifier into the other, and I plug the source components into the third dedicated line, they're all grounded a little bit differently. They'll have a little bit different length from the box. That could be one reason. Another reason is inside the marble, the HB cable design marble, each leg to each individual outlet is of a different material. Or should I better say, it's of a different dielectric around the run. Some of it's silver coated, the other part of the run is pure copper with fine paper wrapped around each leg. Inside the marble, there's cork in the interior of the unit to further dampen any vibration. Another thing to be skeptical about. How can a distributor that has AC passing through it have any vibration? Well, as we begin to discover in high performance audio, everything does matter. And when electrical current passes through a circuit or a component, a capacitor or a resistor, there's microscopic vibrations that occur. That's why most of our components perform differently when they are seated upon different shelf material and different footers. You'll see in some components, circuit boards have their own rubber grommets to separate one board from another. Well, there's a reason for that, and that's it. It's the vibration. So perhaps that does matter in here. Well, I'm not an alchemist. I'm an equipment reviewer. I have to look at, did the component under review do what it's supposed to do? And in the case of the marble, it did. It took the power from the AC inlet, distributed it to each of my outlets for each of my components for the whole system. And the system sounded better. And it sounded a lot better. And it sounded a lot bigger. I wouldn't say it had any more layering in the soundstage because the MBLs layer so well, but it had a more expansive feel in the room. Greater sound pressure within the room, greater image density. This is serious power distribution. And it's something that I find to be a surprisingly effective audio component. Should you consider one of these? Perhaps after you've already invested in dedicated lines? Well, I would. I'm now a believer. The HB cable design marble. It does as advertised, improve your system, and improves it a substantial amount. It's heavy. It weighs over 44 pounds. It's gorgeous. The feet, as you can see, look like Goldman cones. Have you ever had a power distributor pass the wrap test? Pride of ownership, off the charts. A new product category, power distribution, from HB Cable Design. I'm Peter Bruning reporting for AV Showrooms.